shining star, should I follow you tonight? Star of wonder, star of wonder, shining bright.
Thank you. Welcome, welcome. So good to see you all. If you're joining us online, we are just thrilled that you are spending your Christmas Eve with us here at Unity Church of the Hills. That beautiful song was from Higher Ground. It's our own ensemble. Weren't they just gorgeous? Talent just coming out of our pores here at Unity Church of the Hills, and I just love to be a part of it. It's so great to see you all just so sparkly and shiny. Can you just feel that energy, right? It's this energy of anticipation, of celebrating the Christ being born into the world. And we say that from the perspective of a time of awakening, a time where we answer the call that we are to be God in skin with each other. And so it's just this wonderful, juicy time that we have to celebrate all the gifts, all the blessings, and I'm glad that you could be here with us. It's going to be a joint service, so we're going to have the YOUs come up, the kids come up and share a story with us as well. So I think you're going to just have a blast tonight. I'm going to invite Elda and Leo, the Acevedo family, to come on up, please, and to light this beautiful wreath. As I've mentioned before, this wreath is really a symbol, a ritual that reminds us of the power that we are in this season of creation, this season of renewal, this season of preparation for the Christ. Now, Leon and Elda, they do a lot of volunteer work for us here. They're just, whenever you see them, they're always smiling. I mean, it's kind of contagious. And so that's why we invited them to please light the candles. And as they light, I'd like to read once again a Christmas to Remember. And this is from Christmas Eve, and it's written by Reverend Kelly Isola. Every year when decorating the tree on Christmas Eve at my mother's home, there comes a point when we become still and fall silent. We oftentimes wait until Christmas Eve to decorate the tree in order to have everyone there. It makes for such a more precious and meaningful experience as each ornament is taken out of a box, unwrapped from its tissue paper, or untangled from other ornaments. Our ornaments are pretty much all handmade, an odd, silly, yet sacred assortment of 5 children's yearly craft projects. You think it's easy to light these candles? It's not. Ornaments of felt, glitter, popsicle sticks, tin foil, metallic painted Dixie cups turned upside down as bells, pipe cleaners, puffy ink, styrofoam, shapes covered with sequins, velvet ribbons, tiny metal jingle bells, and even simple ceramic ones. Basically, anything could be reimagined and repurposed to become a Christmas tree ornament. Each year, my mom suggests we weed out the ones that are more than 50 years old. The ones where love has rubbed off the glitter or has broken the points of a star, and each year we push back with a group, "No way, Mom!" Then we return to placing our priceless antiques on the tree, chattering about ordinary life until that moment of silence suddenly stops us. It means someone has found my brother Paul's ornaments. It's a ceramic one in the shape of a Christmas present with his school picture glued right in the middle. He made that ornament about a month before he died, and it was his Christmas gift to my mom. The silence fills the room with overwhelming grief. We all silently look at each other as tears fill our eyes, tears full of love that have no time or boundary, bringing us each to life. It is an invitation to meet the silence and each other with all of who we are. Paul is brought to life as we each begin to chat about him and continue far into the night. We are touched more deeply when we can turn ourselves over to life and stand on the edge of realness with each other. Each year, we never know when the silence that is so fragile and so powerful will fall. Yet when we allow it to penetrate our own interior and risk sharing it with the grieving soul standing next to us, we can truly recover the light that is beyond words and understanding. That love and light that shine from each of us, the shimmer that is the true meaning of this holy night, this silent night. And I wanted to share that with you because that's the realness of Christmas. The realness of Christmas is that even those who are no longer with us are still part of our Christmas celebration. We keep them alive with the memories, with talking about them, talking them up. And so in the bittersweetness of that realness, Christmas is welcome too. I'd like to invite Jennifer Chavez up, and Reggie, please. I've invited Jennifer, who is our office manager, as you know, and I just think she is a precious, extraordinary woman, grateful that she partners with us, that I come in, she's here, I leave, she's here. And I'm always yelling at her, go home, go home. Just a joy to have in my life personally, and I'm just changed by you. She's also a prayer chaplain, so I've invited her to do the opening prayer. And as you know, Reggie is now not only with Celebration, but he is our new program director, and we are working closely together, and I think we're starting to have fun and play now. Yes. So that's finally, yes. So that's really good, and he will do the sound bowl first. So as he does the sound bowl, allow that sound to penetrate and prepare for prayer.
We come together this evening to celebrate the loveliest, most beautiful story ever told. We love it so much because it's our story. We are the obedient, humble Mary. We're the helpful, faithful, supportive Joseph, the wise men, the lowly beast of burden, the joyful angels, radiating, bringing the good news, the startled shepherds, the wise men traveling far, bringing something precious to offer, coming to worship. We are the Christ child, children of God, the light of the world. We come to love this role. We practice, we rehearse, until we know it by heart. In the silence of this beautiful night, we're grateful to be in the presence of each other, in the presence of the Creator of all that is, and in the presence of those who've gone on. Grateful that they're still with us in our hearts. And for all the gifts we give, let us give them generously, mindful of the abundant spirit of love and service within us. For the gifts we receive, let us claim them gratefully, knowing we're worthy of everything the universe bestows upon us. We're grateful for this spiritual community, this family of love. These things we say, thank you, thank you. I'd like to invite Linda Hancock, our Director of Family, Youth and Family Services, up with our YFM team.
Good evening. Merry Christmas. My readers and I will be sharing the story of the Christ child with you. And while they're making their way over here and getting set up with their chairs, I would like to invite all the young people in the audience, all the children, anyone under age 18, to come up on the platform and sit here in front of our chairs for the story time. For those of you who are really young parents, I invite you to come up with your young children as well. And for those of you who are feeling a little timid, well, everyone who comes up to the platform will get a gift item. And I know that you're going to really like what we're giving you tonight. So I'd like my gift givers to get in their place on the front pew. There we go. Thank you very much. All right, and all the kids are going to sit on the floor, and the readers are going to sit in the chairs. All right. I think we're just about ready. And you might want to turn around and face this way because there's going to be pictures up here on the slide that y'all are going to want to see. So kids, turn around. Turn your backs to the audience. Yes, they have to do that. There we go. All right. All right, so our readers today are Sophia, Maya, and Julian. All right.
Is it on? Okay. A long time ago, over 2,000 years ago, there was a couple named Mary and Joseph who loved each other very much. They were expecting a baby and had to take a long trip to the city of Bethlehem. The Roman emperor named Augustus wanted to make sure that all people were paying their taxes. The only way to do this was by making everyone return to their town where their family came from so that their names would be written down and recorded.
Because Joseph's family came from a town called Bethlehem in Judea, he and Mary had no choice but to return there. They set out on the long journey with Mary sitting on their donkey. After traveling for many days and nights, they finally reached the little town of Bethlehem.
I wonder how Mary and Joseph felt about having to make that long trip when she was pregnant and expecting a baby any day now. And I wonder what that felt like for Mary to be sitting on a donkey, traveling in wintertime when it was snowy, and she was about to give birth to a baby.
The town was noisy and overcrowded with all the people who had come to register. Mary and Joseph searched for somewhere to stay, but the inns were full, and it seemed that there was no place for them.
Mary looked so tired at one inn that the innkeeper offered Joseph his stable. The stable was full of animals, and it was very smelly and dirty. But at least it was somewhere for Mary to rest.
I wonder how how Joseph and Mary felt sleeping with all those animals. Do we have any animals with us present? Okay. We're all animals. Okay. Maya?
Mary gave birth to her son that very night. She wrapped him warmly in strips of cloth and laid him gently in a manger to sleep. Mary and Joseph must have felt so happy and relieved.
I wonder what it felt for Mary to give birth surrounded by animals. Do you think it was noisy, or do you think the animals were asleep? They look pretty awake. Yeah, okay.
They look pretty wide open.
Okay.
Out on the hills above Bethlehem, shepherds were looking after their flocks of sheep.
Suddenly, there was a dazzling blaze of light in the sky above them. They had to cover their eyes.
I wonder what the shepherds were feeling. They must have wondered, what could it be?
Then the angel of the Lord appeared and spoke to the shepherds. "Do not be afraid," said the angel. "I come with good news, which will bring great joy to all people. God's promised child has been born in Bethlehem today. Go now and look for the baby. You will find him asleep, lying in a manger."
Then a huge crowd of angels appeared in the sky, singing, "Praise be God, peace to everyone on earth." The angels disappeared, and the sky went dark again. The shepherds knew that they had to hurry to Bethlehem to see this new baby. They made their sheep safe and set off to Bethlehem.
I wonder what it was like to see angels singing in the sky. That must have been amazing.
They found Mary and Joseph with their baby. He was asleep in a manger, just as the angel had said.
After the shepherds told Mary and Joseph what the angel had told them, they left to return to their sheep. They sang songs thanking and praising God. They would never forget this night.
Far away to the east, some wise men who studied the skies had noticed a special star. They knew that it was an important sign, and decided to follow it to see where it led.
I wonder what the star looked like. Do you think it was twinkling, or was it just brighter than all the rest, or larger than all the rest? Okay.
They traveled many days and nights and eventually arrived in Bethlehem. The star was over the house where Mary and Joseph and the baby Jesus were now staying.
The three wise men knelt before the baby and gave him the presents they had brought with them: gold, sweet-smelling frankincense, and a spicy-smelling ointment called myrrh.
I wonder how the wise men felt when they saw baby Jesus. And we have our own little baby right here. Yes. And there's another little baby over there. Yes. And another one over there. Yes. We have lots of babies. Well, I wonder what Mary and Joseph thought of all their presents.
When all the people heard about what had happened, they were amazed. The good news of the story continues to be told today, and we get to celebrate the birth of the Christ child in everyone on every Christmas.
All right, well, that's the end of our story. Thank you for joining us. Thank you again, readers. And boys and girls, as you leave, our gift givers will be giving you a handmade stuffed animal who was made by Mr. Carl Kleinebecker. And each one is unique in itself, just like each one of you. So thank you for joining us, and now you can go back to your seats.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. You know, one of the best gifts I've noticed are these wonderful kids. They brighten up the season, don't they? Yeah. I bet if you look over your Christmas list, you'll find there are two things that might be missing. One of those is your gift to the home that spiritually feeds you, your church. And we're going to try to rectify that tonight. But the second one might be you're not on that list. How many people have got their own name on the Christmas list? Anybody? Not too many. Not too many. And I think there's a reason for that, and that reason is your gift to your church may be the best gift you give yourself this holiday season. My dad used to tell me, Cliff, you can't take another breath of life until you give the one you already took back. And so I used to practice trying to prove my dad wrong. I'd go, and I'd turn purple, and then finally I had to let it go. And that's the true thing of giving. It's a flow. It's a continuum. It's a giving and a taking. Do we have the graphic for the offering? There's many ways you can give, of course. They're listed right there. Text, online, use the app, give online with cryptocurrency, or mail a check. You know, I'm old school. I still mail checks. People laugh at me all the time. I was talking to the clerk at the HEB the other day at the service desk, and I said, so how many checks do you receive nowadays? She said, on an average day at this HEB, 10 checks all day long. 10 checks. So I'm really old school. But it all works. It all works, and it's our time to give that back to this church. And let's say this saying, please, ready. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I circulate, and I am grateful. So this is that time to give to yourself, and I hope you'll be just as generous as you ever can be, because this is that time. Thank you, and God bless you all.
So we will sing along, correct? All right. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Peace on earth and mercy mild, God and sinners reconciled. Joyful all ye nations rise, join the triumph of the skies. With angelic hosts proclaim,
You know, when I was a kid, I thought Christmas was the most magical time of the year. I also thought that parents, grandparents, Santa had extra special magical powers during this time of year. And I remember when I was around 8 years old, I started to question, does Santa really exist? So I thought I'd be really clever. You see, we moved to a new house. We no longer had a fireplace. And so my mom went through this elaborate story about how Santa Claus can come through radiators and magical things. And so our stockings were now placed at the foot of our bed, and Santa would come through to fill those stockings. So I'm 8, and I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to pretend that I'm sleeping so that I can prove this story is inaccurate. So I remember middle of the night, my eyes opened up, and I saw my mom stuffing the Christmas stockings. And I felt very smug. And I couldn't wait for the next day so that I could tell her what I saw. And I said, I know Santa's not real because I saw you. I saw you stuffing our Christmas stockings. And my mom said, you know, Santa is so powerful that he knows when kids are awake and trying to take a peek at him and they turn into the parents. Yeah, my mom was that good. She had me for another 2 years, by the way, another 2 years. I want to tell you this story about another kid who was very clever, who thought that they could prove that Santa wasn't real. And this story comes from Ainsley Doty, and it's called The Gift That Made Me Believe in the Magic of Christmas Again. Throughout my childhood, my mom took some creative liberties when it came to Christmas. Sure, other kids believed in Santa, but we were the only ones I knew who believed in peeker elves. P-E-E-K-E-R, peeker elves. According to my mom, Santa sent out those pointy-eared spies in the weeks leading up to Christmas to observe our behavior. When my sisters and I were back-talking, squabbling, or refusing to eat those boiled carrots, my parents would rush to the window, oh yeah, and say, oh my, the peeker elves are out early this year. The peeker elves were also responsible for executing another mom-made Christmas tradition, the one involving wrapping paper. Every year, my sister and I would choose a special paper from Walmart or the dollar store and leave the roll in our winter boots on the back porch. During the night, the peeker elves would collect the wrapping paper and take it back with them to the North Pole. Miraculously, on Christmas morning, my present from Santa would be wrapped in the Power Rangers paper I'd left out for the elves the month before. Unfortunately, the boots tradition is what led to my eventual discovery at 11 years old that Santa may not be real. My bedroom was directly looking over the back porch, and I'd fallen asleep waiting for those peeker elves to come, when I woke up to the sound of the back door opening, and I peered through the blinds, and I saw my mom take out those rolls of wrapping paper back inside. The tricky part was keeping my discovery from my 2 younger sisters. And you know, I did a good job for a couple of years, but by the time my sister Tori was 10, she was taking a lot of heat from her 5th grade classmates. She barged into my bedroom one day and said, I want to know, is Santa real? I said, I don't know. Tori said, well, you know what? We need a test. I need to know for sure. Turns out Tori came up with a pretty decent plan. We knew not to ask Santa for something outrageous because Mom reminded us each year that St. Nick could easily place coal in place of that pony or cell phone we wanted. Based on these limitations, Tori figured out one of us should ask for a reasonable gift that was also extremely difficult, if not impossible, to come by. Ideally, she wouldn't be the one to ask since she already had her heart set on the easy bake oven. Can I get an amen on the easy bake oven? That's right. We're not going to mess that up. That's right. This was more of a big sister task anyway, so Tori planted the seed. If you could have anything, what would you ask Santa for? That's when it dawned on me, the impossible perfect gift. I'd lost my favorite stuffed animal earlier that year. My parents had chauffeured me around all through southern Alberta, Canada for karate tournaments. And somewhere along the way, Teddy had been left behind. I wasn't even sure when I lost him exactly. I just knew he was gone, and I felt bad about it. At 13, I knew I was probably too old to care about some old stuffed teddy bear, but I really missed the little guy. Admittedly, I hadn't always taken the best care of Teddy. Years earlier, I passed out on a bottom bunk at my grandpa's farm, and Teddy had fallen face down into a reading lamp I'd placed on the floor beside the bed. The heat from the bulb burned half his face off. Grampy put a large square Band-Aid over the wound while I bawled on the couch. And he comforted me by saying that Teddy was a hero because he didn't burn the farmhouse down. That's right. So, I was scared. I was scared that stitches would hurt Teddy. So it took me a few months to work up the courage to replace that Band-Aid with a blue fabric patch. I used a ballpoint pen to draw on a new eyeball. Can you see that there in that picture? And Teddy was as good as new. If he was mad about what had happened, he never said anything. He just kept on being my best friend. And how did I repay his unconditional love? I lost him. So fueled mostly by guilt, I decided to go along with Tori's plan. So in late November, I went to my mom and my sisters, and you know what? We went to the mall. We went to South Century Mall in Calgary, and we waited in line to see Santa. When it was my turn to talk, I felt a little awkward and bashful. I'd rehearsed what I was going to say, but felt oddly emotional. And then I spoke the words. All I want for Christmas is to find my teddy bear. As soon as my mom heard my brief exchange with Santa, her stomach had dropped. She hadn't even realized that Teddy was missing, and there was less than a month to go before Christmas time. When we returned from the mall, I went about my normal teenage life. My mom, on the other hand, got right to work. She racked her brain trying to remember where in the most recent time that Teddy would have been. She called up every hotel, motel we'd visited, demanded to speak to the manager. Someone must have seen this bear. Who wouldn't forget a face like that? But the days turned into weeks, and by the time December 23rd rolled around, she hadn't been able to locate Teddy. It dawned on her that there was one place she hadn't thought to call. You see, my dad's office put a yearly party on, and our whole family had spent the night in the town's only hotel. I remember it well because while our parents sipped wine in the conference hall, my sisters and I convinced the boss's son to let us dress them up in drag. Memorable. It was a long shot, but my mom called up the Delta Lodge and spoke to the woman at the front desk. The woman asked around, checked, lost and found, no luck. Teddy was gone. The next night was Christmas Eve. The house phone rang. It was the woman from the Delta Lodge. She'd found Teddy in the laundry room closet. Someone had tucked him away on a shelf for safekeeping. Mom was thrilled, but quickly realized that they'd run out of time. You see, the hotel was 1,000 kilometers away. It was snowing heavily, and there was no way to get Teddy home in time for Christmas. She thanked the woman and asked her to send the bear by mail as soon as she could. Here's the thing, the woman said. You know, I live in Calgary, and I'm driving home tonight. Give me your address. I'll drop it off. There was no longer a stranger on the other end of the phone. She transformed into a peeker elf, working in cahoots with my mom to pull off a Christmas miracle. Standing there in the kitchen, my mom held the receiver to her heart and cried. The next morning, I sat in the middle living room floor wearing my new flannel pajamas. Paper and boxes were spread out around the carpet. My sisters buzzed around me. There was one present left, and my mom handed it to me, looking away so I wouldn't see the tears in her eyes. I unwrapped it and opened the box, looking down and saw Teddy staring at me. I was speechless. Then it was my turn to cry. Tori ran in circles. You see, Santa is real. And in that moment, I came to two very important but contradictory understandings about the world. Firstly, that Santa Claus at the South Central Mall was the real deal. And more importantly, that my mom could make impossible, wonderful, magical things happen, all with a little help from Peaker elves. Isn't that precious? Yeah. I figured if the kids could have a story, us adults could have a story too. Another tradition that I really fell in love with as a child was coming to church on Christmas Eve. You know, I grew up Catholic, so it was Catholic Mass, and the candles were glowing, the incense. It was just this magical transportation that happened as you stepped across the threshold of that church. And it was as if the entire world had taken a deep breath in anticipation for the birth of the Christ. So I'm hoping that today, when you walked through that door, that you felt that anticipation of honoring the Christ in the world. That this is not an unusual story, a one-off story about some special child, but it actually is a representation of who you are and who you are meant to be in the world. Not just this holiday season, not just this time of year when we look at each other and we just, are just so filled with love, our hearts are so wide open, but throughout the year. So I'm seeing you living your purpose, living your truth, being the light in the world this holiday season and beyond. So are you ready to maybe light some candles? Yeah? All right. Does everyone have a candle? So let's go there first. Does anyone missing a candle? All right. The ushers are going to come and they're going to start at one end of the aisle. Liz, would you come up here for a minute? So this is a safety warning or a safety demonstration. Thank you. So you have your candle. It's going to come to you, right? It'll be lit. And then when you pass this, would you mind lighting it? Thank you. Great. So when you have the lit candle, please don't tilt it to light the other person's candle. Allow the unlit candle, to come here and light. You with me? This way we should have no burnt fingers. We should have no wax dripping. We should have no scars on our hands from dripped wax. So once it's lit, you keep it standing straight. Beautiful. Thank you, Liz. Yes, please. So as the ushers come, please, they will do it at the end of the row, and we'll just watch this light that represents you, the Christ that you are. As you light each other's candle, envision that you are passing your light, your love, your essence to your neighbor. take a look around this beautiful sanctuary. Look at the representation of you in this beautiful light. Take a breath. I hold the knowing that on this special evening that you find in your heart the love, the faith, the grace that has always been there. And as you commune and connect with family and friends this Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, that you be the light with each and every member. And so it is. So just imagine at this moment that as you take that breath to blow out your candle, that you are blowing love across the planet. Together, may I have the lights back, please? Thank you, darling. Merry Christmas, everyone!